So 21 so this is where it gets really exciting. Um, Again, I'm a tax geek. That's probably coming off on this, but I love this stuff. It's so fun. I'm putting money back into businesses. At this point with the employee retention credit, I've put $160 million of money back into businesses. To me, that's just amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk 21. 21, the credit now became quarterly. In 2020, it was an annual credit.
Mm-hmm.
21, it's a quarterly credit. And in 20,
Mm-hmm.
it was a 50% credit of the first $10,000 wages. In 21, it is a 70% of the first $10,000 of wages per quarter. So in this scenario, that same 10-person company could have $70,000 of credit per quarter. They have, $100,000 of wages, 10 employees, $10,000 wages each, 70% of that, $70,000. If they qualify all the way through September of 21, that's 3 quarters, that's $210,000 of refunds available in the year 21. Add the 50,000 from last year, $260,000 of refunds for this small 10-person business. That's why this is so exciting, and that's why that's why I smile a lot when I talk about this. It's fun to help these businesses put this money back in.
Now, do you think that the businesses are really going to understand this, or are we going to have a bunch of like amended tax returns and people kind of having to go back and say, okay, did I qualify in 2020? Do I need to amend my return? Or am I just like getting too ahead of myself?
No, that's a great question because this is a huge topic right now in the industry. There's two things to go to there. This is actually a payroll tax credit. I didn't even mention that before. It's not an income tax credit. So
Okay.
it gets filed on the 941, the payroll tax return. But it does affect the income statement or the tax return, the income return, income tax return. I can't talk. I'm getting too excited here. The income tax return. Melissa, keep me on track here. Uh, so it does affect the income tax return. And so, we're recording on March 15th. Most pass-through entities tax returns, S corps, LLCs, are due today. They If they haven't taken this credit, they're not putting on this tax return. So they're going to have to go back and amend. The issue is, and this is no reason not to look at the credit, the issue is if we file, let's assume a company hasn't applied for ERC and they qualify. That's a big if. You have to qualify. I'm not going to be in that category where people promises everybody that qualifies. That is not by far not the case. But if you qualify, you haven't taken it yet. You filed your S corp return, let's say today, as you and I are sitting, not as this is being broadcast. I'm ruining timing on this now. They're hearing secrets on how quickly you record this and get it out. Um, but you have to adjust that income tax return. So you're going to have to go back and amend it. This is the concern. I file today for the ERC, and it's not going to happen if I haven't looked at it, but I file next month for the ERC for 21, all 3 quarters. Let's assume that scenario. I had $210,000 of refunds coming for the year 21. That's supposed to be income on my tax return, my income tax return. Even though it's a credit against my payroll taxes, it's income on my income tax return. Unlike PPP, which didn't end up being income, this one does. I'm not going to receive that refund from the IRS for 9 months, 10 months, a year. It's taken them a long time. So if I pick up $210,000 of income today, and again, let's say I'm in a 30% bracket, that's $63,000 of tax I'm going to pay on money I haven't received yet. That's a big issue. That's something I really think IRS needs to address. I think you should be able to pick up this income in the year you receive it rather than the year the wages were used. That's not what the tax code says. That's a little bit of a dilemma. I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to wait till they get their refunds. They're going to amend their tax return. They're going to hope the IRS doesn't get mad and say, hey, you got a penalty for late payment. They've pretty much already come out and said they're not going to penalize for paying this late because they know that there's a timing issue.
Mm-hmm.
But they were specifically talking about 2020 when they said that. I assume that'll carry forward to 21. Now I'm losing. Now you're getting glassy-eyed here as I'm talking this stuff. So we'll move on to the next topic. But that is an issue. You kind of mentioned it. we have an interplay with the income tax return, and there's decisions that need to be made on when we have to adjust that return.
Well, but I think it is helpful for business owners to understand that there are little chinks in the armor, and we don't know if we can what we can do, but because everybody would be like, "Oh my gosh, this is easy money." Well, there might be a payment, so there are
Right.
some intricacies that you need to be aware of.
And
And
there's a
yeah.
lot. Sorry, Melissa, I cut you off, but there's a lot of interplay between the ERC and other things. You have to PPP is just one where I say you have to double. You can't double dip. You can't double dip with R&D tax credit wages. You can't double dip with WOTC, work opportunity tax credit wages. Um, Restaurant revitalization grants interplay with this. Even the EIDL loan, the EIDL loans that a lot of companies took as well from the SBA, there's an interplay. Now, some of these are big effects, some of them are not much of an effect, but you have to know how all these play together. And I've spent my last year basically educating everybody in the country on employee retention credits. And I don't know what I'm going to do for an encore. This might be the end of my career because I don't think I can find something that I enjoy this much again.
I'm pretty sure people are going to be dealing with this for years because the IRS is so backed up.
Yes.
I mean, nothing's happening. But the other tax credit that I think, so this is kind of something that has happened. You obviously need to address it, with your own accountant. And if you're not working, I think this is encouraging a lot of business owners to start working with accountants because some of this stuff is complex. And if you mess it up, it could come back to haunt you. But